So good morning once again. My name is Marija Razgutė. I'm a producer. Today in the morning I have received a question, how old are you, to be a lecturer. So I'm 30 years old, if you have the same question. I will shortly introduce myself to you so that you would know whom are you having a lecture today, and then we will move to a schedule of today's. So first of all, I'm a producer, which is my kind of main occupation, my main profession, and I spend most of my time working as a producer. But I also work as a festival programmer. I work for Vilnius International Short Film Festival. This year it will be the 10th edition of the festival, and as I spoke with my colleague from Iceland, festival programmer is what I tell to the people, that I'm a festival programmer, but actually I have like 10 more duties in the festival. And I do lots of management, I do lots of coordination, I do lots of public relations, I do lots of traveling in other festivals and so on and so forth. Because the festival is really small, we have 3 people who work all year long, and then we have to do everything. And only 3 months before the festival we have a bigger crew which does the rest. And also the third field of action, what I do is working in a short film agency, Lithuanian Shorts. It's a promotional short film agency which I established with a colleague of mine 4 years ago. Why did we do that? We saw that there was a big gap in Lithuanian film industry, that there was no film center, no promotional agency, no one who would, bless you, no one who could take care of short films in general after producer produces it. Because the producers were lacking lots of information, lots of experience, what to do with your film, which festivals to choose. Should I choose the festivals? Should I send it to TV, to the broadcasters, or VODs, whatever. So us as a producers, we had some knowledge and we decided to share with other producers and to help ourselves and themselves. So today I will more focus on the producers' work, because it's my main occupation, my main work. But I would lie if I say that I'm not influenced by the work in the festival or the short film agency, because this experience which I have from the festival and the short film agency helps a lot for me to work with my own films while distributing, while producing, while developing, whatever. What I studied. So I did the BA in business management in Vilnius University, then I decided that I will be a producer because all my course mates were bankers, businessmen, and they thought I was crazy to choose film management. Then I did a master's degree in cultural policy in Vilnius Academy of Arts. So as you see, I didn't go to the film school, which is sometimes good, sometimes very bad maybe, but I always try to get the good point out of the situation, and I think I learned a lot of things on my own for this reason. And why I didn't do the film school, I was really unsatisfied with the one we have in Lithuania, and I thought, okay, why should I suffer there if I don't like it? So maybe I can study something else and then do what I want. So after my university studies, I also did my workshops. Maybe some of you are familiar with it. It's a training program for producers who are working already in the industry and want more or less to establish their international projects, international career, if you want to say so. So it was, I put it here because it was really significant. I really recommend this program if any of you would like to develop yourselves as producers, but they also accept directors, especially because they have 3 workshops per year. So the first workshop, which is really focused on development, on creative aspects of the project, so take a try. Shortly, what else I do? I have my own film production company, established in 2008. I'm a member of some associations, film academies, which is Association of Lithuanian Producers. I established Lithuanian Short Film Agency, also became a member of Lithuanian Film Academy and became a member of European Film Academy this year. What else? This is shortly my filmography. I won't go through all the films, but as you can see, I produce mostly fiction. There will be some documentaries as well. And what I will also make a focus on later, that there are some names that repeat themselves during my filmography, I mean the directors, and there's a reason why, and we're going to talk about it today. So yes, these are the shorts, and I have my first feature film in production this year. And in the first part, we will talk about this creative triangle of producer, director, and writer. And those who are, okay, this is it. Those who are 3 in 1, they are, as I say, poor people because they have to really work much more with themselves. Why? I will go into that deeper a bit later, but the most important thing when you have a project and when you develop it, those 3 personalities, producer, director, writer. Director and writer can be one. Sometimes it's producer, director, writer, one personality. But you have to speak with yourself in a position of director and writer, or director, writer, and producer. Because if you write something, you take a position of a writer. Then you take your script and you have to read it as a director and say, oh, no, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. And then you take it once again and then you read it as a producer. And then you say, oh, no, nobody would watch this film, it's a crap. I will write a new one. And then if you are all in 3, it's possible, but it's really a huge and hard work. And I really say that these people who can do it, they're genius, and there are quite a lot of them, but I'm only a producer. I can do only one thing at one time, and it's nor good nor bad, it's just the way it is. I will talk about creative producer, because I think a good producer is a creative producer. It's not that someone is more gifted and he's a creative producer. I think every producer is creative producer, otherwise he would be not able to work in the film industry. He has to be creative. It's just if you are able to show how creative you are, if you are brave enough to be a creative producer, and if you want to be a creative producer, because sometimes it's really much easier to say, no, we won't do this, no, it's too expensive, no, I'm not interested, no, I'm not sure if anyone will watch this film, no, 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 and then you can find yourself without any director or any writer or anything. So creative producer, I think first of all he has to be a brave person. He has to deal with lots of risks, which is risking with an idea, risking with a new talent, risking with money, investing money into the project while you develop it. As I said, always taking a risk with new talents, which is one of the key functions of the creative producer. He has to find a new talent, he has to have a relationship with it and have to keep those relationships that would last long, and you could develop your relationship with the talent. It can be a director, it can be a writer, it can be a DOP, it can be actors, it can be editors, it can be whatever. First of all, I put director and writer because these 2 people are from this creative triangle, which we're going to talk a bit now. And as I have just said, that director and writer can be one, and we have examples here that one person can be all the 3 of those. There are situations when the producer is above, and as you said, the producer comes up with an idea and wants to develop it, and he might know exactly at once the writer or director that he wants to work with. Sometimes also it's a matter of experience. For example, if the producer is much more experienced than director and writer, he would take this as an advantage and would be like a leader of the project because he has the experience in developing, he has experience in financing, he knows lots of talents, he can easily attach whatever actor you want, and he's kind of the leader of the project. But this doesn't mean that director and writer suffer. You see, it's the triangle. It's not that he's controlling them. It's still a triangle. And it's a very important thing that producer, if you see at this triangle as 3 people standing in front of each other in a triangle, producer always has a director on his right. Director has a writer on his right, and the writer has a producer on his right. And wherever you go in this triangle, it's the same. Why? Because if a producer has a director on his right, it's his best friend. Why is a director a best friend of producer? Producer has legal rights to the film, he has the money, he has the managemental skills, but he cannot do it without the director who has the vision for the film. And he has to understand it and respect it and to collaborate with the director. The director would not have his vision realized in the film if he would not respect the writer who writes the script for him. It can be himself, but he has to respect this part of his body, which is a writer and which is a director, and he has to collaborate there as well. So the writer is on his right, and the writer has a producer on his right. Why? Because sometimes a director and a writer, if they are 2 personalities or even 2 in 1, he has to always consult the producer for the reason because the writer and the director, they are 2 creative personalities, and sometimes they come up to the dead end. And what to do? Okay, he says, I don't like this scene, I don't like the script anymore, I don't see the film anymore, I don't want to do it anymore, what shall we do? And then they come to the producer and the writer says, look, I wrote the script, it has to be this way, this director doesn't like it, what shall we do? And the producer is the one that comes in and tries to help them to solve the problem. Even if it's the same person, then the producer has to be very aware of that. What does this one person who has a director and a writer, 2 in 1 in the same body, he has to be very, very strict with this person in a way that the director and writer understands that he's a director and writer, and he has to be very self-critical. If we have this kind of triangle, usually it's also according to the experience and the name of the director. If he's more experienced, he can be the one who's kind of the leader of the project. If he has he might be not as much experienced as producer, but he might have a very strong vision of the project. And it's visual driven or story driven, which comes from the director, and the writer does the writing. So in this triangle, it's the director who controls the project. And the third option, the writer, if usually it's in case when the writer is really experienced. If you are a young director and young producer and take a very well-acknowledged writer into the project, so he's the one who says that the script will be like this. And director kind of has to take it or not, to give some comments, and then again, to take it or not. It's very important that the producer would feel engaged, that he would be part of the project, that he would know how the director and writer came to this point, why they decided to make this scene here, because he knows that it was this and that before and it was not good because of this and that. That's why he has this ending of the film. That's why he has this character in this film. And he knows everything. And I think it's very important that producer feels part of the creative team, because he's also a creative person and he is the one who has to make your project come true physically, and if he feels really part of the project, he will do it in the best way. In the best way he can, because he really likes it, he really loves it, it's his baby, as producers say, oh, my baby. So I think it's really, really healthy for all the reasons we said, because it's a third eye, you know, he can help solve the problems, issues between director and writer, or just give advice or whatever. He can foresee the managemental things in advance, that we cannot do this because of that, we cannot do this and that, because he knows all the financing, all the budget, and because he wants to be involved, because he is a creative person. He didn't write it, he didn't direct it, he has a distance, and he has, of course, it's his project, but he still has this distance, and he can be as much critical as he can be. And there's another thing. The producers, they do travel a lot for the business reasons, for the festivals, for the markets. They do travel a lot. They know a lot of people from the TVs, from the festivals. They watch the films in the festivals. They watch the films in the market. They have this feel of what's going on at the moment in the market, in the cinemas. And with this feel, I experienced it myself. I couldn't believe that it's so, but with this feel, you can really guess if this project will be successful or not. Because you feel, oh, there wasn't such a film for 25 years, it must be a great hit. Or, okay, I have seen 10 films like this during last year. I don't think it's, we need one more film like this and something like that. So it's also very important. It's maybe intuitive, but that's the way it is. We have spoken about the experience of, do you see from me? It's okay for you? Should I stand like this? Okay, so I will try to move. We have two different options of experience of those three people in the triangle. In the first option, we have a producer who's very much experienced. In the second one, the director. There are a lot of arguments about this team of those three people. One camp says that they should have equal experience, because only in having equal experience, I will respect you as much as you respect me, and I will respect you as much as you. And then we can have like equality in the team, and then we work really efficient. The other camp says, no way you're going to do a successful project like this. There must be someone who's really experienced in this team, no matter if it's producer or director or a writer, let's say, but there has to be like one star, and then the others can be whoever. And I think it's really important, the personalities, because there are dictators, you know, there are those who love democracy in the group work, and you know, we discuss it in theory, but for example, for me, from my own experience, my best projects are the ones that I did with the people of my level. And it's my own experience. There's no true or false in that, but I try to work with the two experienced directors, and I said stop to both of those projects, because I see that they see me as a very promising young producer, but she has to learn a lot. And maybe it was a bad experience, just two bad experiences for me, but they were never taking into consideration my comments on the project, on the script, on some ideas, on something. They were, oh yeah, of course, yeah, but we will still do it this way. And it was so difficult to work that I was feeling that I will die. I couldn't do that. And I said that it's just right time for you to find another producer and for me to find another director, because we will go into a big trouble. If I don't feel that I have some kind of control of the project, I can't be responsible for it anymore, because I have no idea what's going on there. So, as I said, there's no true or false in this, but whenever you take someone into your team, if you're a director, if you're a producer or a writer, you have to be aware of it. If there's someone coming really, really experienced, you have to talk about it from the very beginning. Who is the leader in the group? Even if it's a director who is very experienced, will he trust the producer? Will he delegate the task to the producer? Will he accept some comments? No? And there is no problem talking about it, but you have to do it on the very first day. I didn't do that, I thought it will go like I did with the other projects, with the directors who are of my experience, my age, but it did not. So you just have to be aware of it, and I know there are, and of course there has to be a lot of successful projects with someone who's very experienced and someone not, but you have to set the rules from the very beginning. So there was option 3. This is, I think, what I usually work. Usually I'm at the same level of the director. Sometimes I'm a bit more experienced than the director. And the writer is usually the one who has more or less the same experience or a bit less. I don't do that on purpose, but it's just the way it happens naturally for me. I don't know why, because maybe I feel really comfortable like this. I feel that I can manage the project. I know who does what. I know who is responsible to me, who's responsible to director, and we can feel this workflow going really smoothly. How does it work in the real life? How do you think? Why does the producer usually works with several directors? Yes, because I had a question from one director. He said, I want you to work only with me. Why you work with other directors? You have to work only with me and give all your time to my project. And I said, I would love to do that, but I have to earn a salary. And if I work only with you, one director cannot work with 3 projects at the same time. Maybe some can, but they are genius, and there are very little genius in this world. So I have to have 2 or 3 projects at the same time. One of them is in the development, the other is in production, the other is in post-production, maybe the 4th one is traveling somewhere around the festivals. And that's how I can make my company survive. It's really on the edge of surviving. It's not making profits, but it's on the edge of surviving. To have 2, 3 projects at the same time. If you want to have profits, you have to have 5, 7, maybe 10 projects at the same time. Then you can make profits. But
do you have anyone working with you?
On constant basis, no. I'm alone. I only have people when I have, production. So what we started talking at the very beginning, who is the creative producer and why does he need to keep the relationship with talented people? Do you think it's really easy to start working with a new director for a producer? No. The same is for the director. To change the producer, I think it's like changing a partner in your life or whatever. It's really hard because you have to work very closely, really. I say that director and producer, no matter if they are 2 men or 2 women, they get married for some period of time. They get married, and they have to work really closely. Why does the director need also relationship with writers? As I said, the producer has always at least 2 or 3 projects at the same time. One of them is in development. One of them is in pre-production. The other maybe is in production. The 4th one is in the, let's say, distribution in the festival circuit or whatever. And having this little surrounding of talented people, writers, directors, DOPs, you can always try to get the best match for the exact project. And if those people trust you, if they know you, the writer, the director, they will trust your choice that for this idea that you came up, you, the director, let's choose this writer because she's really good at writing this style of films. And I match the producer with, I match the director with the writer, and we come up director A and writer 2 for the project W. And etc., etc., etc. I think knowing these people, knowing those talents is my equity. It's really an equity that I can use and I can develop the projects. If I don't know the writer whom I should contact, I have to look for a new one. I might not find a new one. I might not trust that new one, or maybe I do, yeah. But it's really difficult not to know the people when you, for example, start producing. It's really hard to get known with the people, to get their trust, and to get the relationship with them, and to keep those relationships. Because sometimes, yeah, you make a project and you feel that you don't want to meet that person anymore. He's not a bad person, but it wasn't right to work with him or her. And I think it's also, there's nothing bad about it. People, not everybody can be couples, so it's the same in the film industry. It's not that with everyone you can work. And I have prepared some suggestions which I also use in my own practice. And actually, now I was coming towards them. The first suggestion of mine for you as producers and maybe directors is to choose the people, but not to choose scripts or projects. Why? I think the most important thing and the biggest value and the biggest equity of yours is the relationship with the talented people. And for example, what I really do, and I really appreciate it, I choose the people, the directors, I choose the script writers, and I work with them, I grow up with them, I develop myself as a producer with them. And I'm not saying that, okay, this project of yours, the second script you wrote, I don't like it, I won't produce it. If I don't like it, I say why I don't like it, and I ask for the writer or the director to go and bring the second draft. Because sometimes there are big surprises from the very first idea to the very last draft of the script. It might sound like a shit in the very beginning, but the outcome is brilliant, and vice versa. So I think it's really worth trying to understand this, that the people is the ones you choose, not the projects. Because the projects is the result of your work with those talented people. And you might talk with those talented people about ideas, you might talk about something, and the script must be the result of a very long process.
Very interesting, because isn't it often talked about the other way around?
Yes, and as I said, there is no true or false in what I say today. It's my own experience, and I really feel that I have to share it with you. Because I really like the way it is, and I think it's more or less the future, how it should work in the film industry, because everybody talks about talents, and we have to do our talents, let's develop talents. But in practice, what is this? What is this talents? We are talents. You are, every of you is the talent, I'm the talent, and we just have to work together and bring something on the table. This something is the film, this something is the script, this something is maybe the idea, maybe the synopsis, but this is already the outcome of our relationship. Me, the producer, you, the director, you, the scriptwriter, you, the director, scriptwriter, two in one. But this is the outcome. And I think if you try to think like this, I think you feel much less stress about your script. Is it perfect? Is it ready? Like, I should bring my script to the producer, what he will say. It doesn't matter what he will say. It's the process which you have to go through with your producer, with your director, with your writer. And it's like no stress. Because, and don't be afraid to kill the idea, to kill the script. If you feel that it's not going right way after 2 drafts, after 3 drafts, after 5 drafts of the script. If you don't feel that it's heading you somewhere, leave it, put it aside for a while, or just say no to it forever. There's nothing bad about it. And I did it once with the director. I still work now. We made a short film together, then we started developing the second one, and we were developing it almost for 1 year, and the second draft, the third draft, we had even the location for the shooting, and it was getting somehow worse and worse with everything we did, and I started seeing that either there will be a feature film out of it, or we don't do it at all. And as the director wasn't prepared for the feature, we decided to put it aside and have another idea, another script for another short film, and maybe come back to that one after he's ready.
Was that because of the subject of the film?
Yes.
Because it needed more time?
It needed more time, and the storyline became really huge and too many levels for a short film.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's really fair to be honest with your project as well. And don't try to make it, I wanted to make it short, I will make it short. No, you have to say that, okay, this is it, this is the feature.
So you made a conclusion of that the script couldn't be as short?
Yes.
It could be a feature and you need more time to develop.
Yes, and it wasn't really that hard. Of course, it wasn't easy because there were quite a lot of people who already knew that we were doing this new short, and they keep asking, so how's your short? When are you going into the production? And we say, oh, we actually don't go into production. We decided to put it aside. Yes, why? And you have to give quite a lot of explanations to the financiers. We also developed it in some workshops, and it was like, oh yeah, we are waiting for your film, when is it coming? It's not coming, not yet, maybe next year or maybe never. But I think it was really a good decision, because now we are making short in August, and maybe we will come back to that one later. And one more suggestion, which I also experienced and which I also do in practice. I don't restrict myself and the director or the writer. How long should the development of the project take? Because I don't know. Nobody knows. And I think that if I work with you and develop the idea X, we would take 1 year. If I work with you and develop the same idea X, maybe we would take 2 years. Because it's the combination of different talents, different people, different skills, different ideas, different experience, and the same idea might have a different outcome with different time needs and different things. So there is no rule for time. And if I see that it's taking really too long, and you have this feeling that it's going nowhere, then you have to decide that you put it aside, or you make a feature of it, or you don't do it at all, or I don't know. Start developing a new idea as a next one.